So, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of this guy. Yes, Andrew Tate. Seemingly just sprung up from nowhere, but now he's everywhere on every social content platform, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, heck, he's even on the news now just for everything that he's been up to. On today's episode, we're going to find out, is he a marketing genius with his MLM strategy, or is he just a complete fraud? Andrew Tate is by far the goofiest guy on the internet right now. And it's just from clips like this.
Well, what color's your brigade?
And then he'll go and say stuff like this that just makes absolutely no sense.
If you're broke, if you're not a millionaire, the last thing you should be doing with your time is cooking. I can't think of a lower ROI activity.
And it's mind-boggling that he will choose his words to say things that are in line with, opinions and beliefs that I share, but then he'll just take it to a whole new level.
I'm super pro-children. When I speak to some of these feminists and are like, I don't want kids, I think you are the most miserable, stupid bitch in the world. You're born with this gift to create life, and you think it's more important to eat microwave dinners and make 40 grand a year and talk about your career.
So whether you think he's a multi-marketing level genius that's riled up a demographic of predominantly young men to essentially hustle and grind and get, the lifestyle that's luxury and then lavish, we'll find out more, in my opinions, in this breakdown. But before I get into that, I want to give a little bit of a background on who Andrew Tate is and how did he even get to this meteoric rise in seemingly what happened in less than 6 months' time. Born in Chicago, 1986, Andrew Tate comes from a family that was relatively poor, and he even said so in multiple of his videos. His father, Andrew Tate, was a grandmaster chess champion. It wasn't up until he started growing up around 2009 that Andrew Tate started getting involved in the entertainment industry, more specifically television advertising. But from then, he started transitioning into more of a kickboxing career. Some notable accomplishments in his relatively short tenured kickboxing career is a International Sport Karate Association title belt, where he won 17 of 19 fights, which is, by all in purpose means, relatively impressive. And considering that Andrew Tate gives off this male bravado, he does have a background to support that his lifestyle is macho. Seeing an explosion in the entertainment industry, especially when it comes to men with money, aka the simps of today that will just spend vast amounts of dollars on seeing webcam girls, Andrew Tate capitalized on this, setting up a webcamming studio where him and his brother would film women for the pleasure of other men. Now, it was supposed during this time he would accrue millions of dollars, and that would later go on to spur a lot of his other additional investments and so forth. And this misogynistic, macho, bravado male that we have come to know who Andrew Tate is now, most likely started this initial development during this entertainment start or his kickoff. It has even been stated that throughout this webcamming online industry that Andrew Tate would go on to found with his brother Tristan, he would encourage the girls and females that he onboarded into this webcamming business to sell sob stories or emotional back charge to ensure that men would pay, essentially. And ultimately, he was able to rack up millions of dollars in this business. And it just goes to show in today's day and age how important the emotion comes when dictating and selling a business, whether that be currently with his Hustlers University or previously with his webcamming business. It was really his break in the online entertainment industry that has dubbed Andrew Tate as the essence of male alphaness. And what that essentially is just a bunch of teenage boys that have riled up against a cause to think that they can too make money and be seen as an influence when it comes to the female-male perspective. So in Andrew Tate's eyes, he's what's called a top G. And essentially because he was able to start from scratch, work his way up, and create a brand, which I believe he did very remarkably well, selling himself to other people, using his voice, his personal connection, and a way to engage with people by telling them certain snippets of information that's truth, of something that would be reasonable or holds true with men, especially when it comes to topics such as loneliness. But at the same time, he'll make certain leaps that allows other people to think this is a really polarizing character. That's the nature of Andrew Tate's persona. He's generated this character that is so polarizing to certain demographics and groups that is what gains traffic. He's marketed himself to be this guy that is able to inflame and rile up certain parties while honing in and giving praise, and is accepted by other groups, mainly male teenage boys. He's been the subject of multiple sexual assault allegations and even some of his misogynistic comics highlighting women as property as opposed to belonging to their own human individual person, and they should be tethered to a man's goals. Say what you want, Andrew Tate does a very good job at selling himself and communicating in a way that makes others want to listen, because no matter what you agree or don't disagree, Andrew Tate presents the information in a way you like listening to him. It's entertainment at the end of the day, and he's done a great job at that. Currently, Andrew Tate lives in something that's like a mafia-style compound. It's a $28 million compound in Romania, and he's even been cited saying he's living in Romania because it has more lax laws when it comes to certain rules and rights between female-male interactions. The regulations don't apply as strictly and harshly when it comes to certain things such as drug trafficking, female domestic relationships, and so on. The most important thing, and why a lot of people are here to find out, is how the heck did he become so relevant? With Google Trends, you can see he's skyrocketed in the last 6 months from virtually zero to a few trending conversations to now one of the most cited Google characters in the last several years. And that's mainly been attributed to his multi-level marketing strategy. As a sharp guy, he knows how to win and play the internet. Founding a group called Cobra Tate, he's promoted a institution or a university called Hustlers University. And it's a course that is promoting learning how to make income with Andrew Tate based on his past successes and how to do it, whether it's advertising, copywriting, trading through stocks and crypto, Amazon FBA and learning how to set that up, as well as general e-commerce business in general. But don't be fooled, don't be alarmed. He says he has a lot of top-notch teachers that come on. It's a course that I've personally vetted myself, and it's nothing more than a scam. The information that's presented is little to anything that you can pretty much find on the internet as it is. It's almost like he copy and pasted YouTube videos and took the knowledge from that as a way to say, here you go, I've provided all this content, pay me $50 a month. And considering that he has roughly now over 100,000 monthly subscribers to his Hustlers University at $50 a charge, he's making a pretty penny at that. What's even more shocking is the people that have subscribed to his Hustlers University in the hopes of getting women, in the hopes of making money, to emulate and get a life that's similar to Andrew Tate. They're reinforcing these ideas that it's okay to embrace a community of men that embrace masculinity and reject liberalism and feminist ideology for the sake of improvement. Now, I'm not to say that masculinity shouldn't be promoted, but the way that Andrew Tate is doing is using his own messages, his image, and then convincing these group of 100,000, I don't know, currently, maybe it's even scaled close to 200,000 in terms of total active users for Hustlers University. He tells them and he encourages them to repost his content. And that's brilliant because that is the way to gain SEO, search engine optimization, to show himself gain more subscribers, more content, and ultimately it's a feedback loop. Within a certain amount of cycles, the Hustlers University can only onboard so many active subscribers before it just expands to a point where people that try and onboard additional people for the sake of gaining an affiliate membership fee, or essentially a cut of this MLM, or what's a pyramid scheme. And I'm going to break down a pyramid scheme as well. At the top, Andrew Tate is making the most money. Who he onboards as those affiliate members, they're paying him a subscription. Now, for each one of those members that sign on and register additional members, they're getting a cut of the total pool of commission. However, within a few cycles, it's just non-feasible to have a pyramid keep continuing like that. Eventually, there will be people that won't be able to join, or there's just not enough people in general. They've expanded to a point where, in terms of obliteration, that there's no more people to onboard. And the reason this pyramid scheme is not illegal is because a good and service is actually being sold. In the case of most pyramid schemes, they sell you some crap that you don't want, but because there is a transaction, that's how they're able to get away with this. In this case, individuals are receiving this course where they're getting the knowledge that Andrew Tate and his curated mentors are able to provide. But if you ask me, the one thing that no one takes into account is if someone is teaching something and if they're trying to educate you on how to make money, that wouldn't make sense to then go out and pursue that, because it's ultimately a saturated market. With these 100,000 affiliates all pursuing similar business ventures, there's going to be saturation, increased competition, to the point where making margins off any of the businesses just won't work. However, the ultimate goal isn't to actually help these people make businesses, it's to boost Andrew Tate's in. And like I said, with a feedback loop, by creating this polarizing nature where his affiliates, also the teenage male demographics, are promoting his content, his marketing, they're encouraging additional users to come on board and then get sucked into this scheme. And eventually, we'll see the fallout 1-2 years later, how Hustlers University is doing. And I'd love to get an interview with people that have actively been with it for, let's say, several years. Have they recouped their money? Most likely, they haven't. I want to get into a little bit of how he's been able to maintain his stardom, which is very difficult to do in the internet world, where there are trends that happen and it's a blip. It's a glimpse of fame, and then their 3 seconds or 10 seconds of fame is over. Andrew Tate has done a phenomenal job of capitalizing on the transition from a liberal United States to a more conservative demographic, with the economic activity that's happening in our country, as well as values being shifted from, in terms of a pendulum. In the last several years, we've had a lot of liberal ideology, but now, in terms of a breath of fresh air, men are starting to seek comfort in the messages that Andrew Tate and the values that he presents. And this turmoil within the United States is something he's banking on to continue.